As a foreign student from Russia, I moved to France 6 years ago to study mechanical engineering. And to make things harder for me, the entire program was in French, so I needed a lot of brain power. And one food which I luckily discovered pretty early on really helped me with that. And that food is eggs. Today we're gonna dive deep into the nutrition and biochemistry of eggs and why they're so important for cognition. And at the end of this video, I'm also gonna teach you my secret way of cooking eggs to preserve all of the micronutrients. So let's dive right into this. The first and probably the most important micronutrient in eggs is choline. Choline is a precursor to a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, and you may remember it from high school biology as the molecule necessary for your neurons to activate muscle contraction. But it's also used in your brain, and there it's a very important neurotransmitter responsible for attention, learning, and memory. And the only way for you to make acetylcholine is by taking a molecule of choline and acetylating it by an enzyme called choline acetyltransferase. And while your body can synthesize a tiny amount of choline in your liver, the vast majority of your choline must come from dietary sources. Eggs contain over 10 times more choline than plant sources like broccoli, cauliflower, and even spinach. And not only that, but also choline in eggs is found in form of phosphatidylcholine, which is much more bioavailable and provides an extra structural integrity to cell membranes in your brain. This form of choline is also significantly more effective at elevating brain choline levels compared to choline salts, which are found in many supplements such as choline bitartrate. And when it comes to deep work, whole eggs provide a lipid matrix which allows for a more gradual release of choline rather than a single burst like supplements do. So it's much more effective for you to eat eggs rather than supplement with choline. And by the way, choline and other compounds which we're about to discuss are all found in egg yolk. So never throw away the egg yolk. It's the most nutrient-dense part of the egg and it's the most important one for productivity. Alright, aside from choline, eggs are also rich in xanthophyll carotenoids, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin, which modulate the efficiency of neural circuits in your brain. They are found in the brain's frontal cortex and hippocampus as well as the macula of the eye. And this is really interesting because these are carotenoids, and aside from improving your brain function, they also protect your eyes from the nasty effects of screen time. And if you want to keep your eyesight while working on a computer for most of the day, you better get these through your diet too, so this is really good. And by the way, lutein and zeaxanthin are also the pigments which are responsible for the orange-yellow hue of the egg yolk. And free-range egg yolks usually have a much deeper orange color compared to the industrially produced eggs from chickens who never even saw sunlight. So it is really important for you to get high-quality, free-range, ideally organic eggs to get the maximum amount of micronutrients from there. Alright, so what do these carotenoids do? First, lutein. Lutein acts as a membrane-bound antioxidant, which means it's protecting the fatty acids in neuronal membranes from oxidative stress. Now, zeaxanthin is also an antioxidant protecting the brain cell membranes, and it is really important because these two are one of the only ones who can actually penetrate the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain. And brain is a very important place for them to act because it's full of polyunsaturated fatty acids and oxygen, which together create a bunch of inflammation. So these two are crucial for keeping your brain healthy and performant, especially when you're doing huge amounts of mental work. Now, the interesting part about eggs is while eggs have less lutein and zeaxanthin than some plant-based options, they are much more bioavailable because the egg provides them with a lipid matrix, which is like a vehicle which allows them to get into the brain, compared to, for example, spinach, where these nutrients are trapped in a rigid cellulose matrix. The chicken egg is also one of the few land-based animal foods that contains a significant amount of DHA, which is an omega-3 fatty acid essential for the brain. Let me explain this. DHA is primarily incorporated into the second position of the phosphatidylcholine molecule within neuronal membranes. The presence of these unsaturated fatty acids increases membrane fluidity, which is essential for the lateral movement of neurotransmitter receptors and ion channels. This allows a more rapid transition between states, essentially facilitating faster task switching and improved cognitive flexibility. So interestingly, the synergy between DHA and phosphatidylcholine, which is the primary form of choline found in eggs that we discussed previously, is improving your cognitive flexibility and allowing you to switch tasks faster, which is essentially what we do all the time in modern mental work. Interestingly, consumption of eggs has been shown to create both an immediate, acute improvement in cognitive ability as well as a long-form effect on general brain health and performance. Clinical trials in children have shown that the consumption of egg yolks leads to significantly higher attention and short-term memory scores 30 to 90 minutes post-ingestion. Conversely, egg yolk consumption has also long-term benefits. For example, in women, the long-term beneficial effects seem to particularly improve the semantic memory and verbal fluency, which is essentially the ability to retrieve and organize information quickly. Now let's talk about cooking. How can you actually preserve all of the micronutrients without gagging on a glass full of disgusting raw eggs? Many nutrients in eggs are quite heat sensitive. Carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin can lose up to 20% of their antioxidant activity when exposed to high heat, which is above 100 degrees Celsius. Frying at high temperatures or prolonged boiling leads to the isomerization of these molecules, potentially reducing their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. So this makes leaving the egg yolk runny or ideally raw the best strategy to preserve these molecules. But the egg white is a completely different story. Raw egg whites usually taste disgusting, and there's a good reason for that. Raw egg white contains a protein called avidin, which is an anti-nutrient that binds to the vitamin B8, preventing its absorption. And since vitamin B8 is essential for energy metabolism in the brain, consuming raw or undercooked egg whites is counterproductive for long-term focus. Among the conventional ways of cooking eggs, poaching and soft boiling are probably the best because they fully cook the white while keeping the yolk runny. Hard boiling and microwaving, on the other hand, are one of the worst because they fully cook the yolk, destroying some of the micronutrients. Now, I've eaten thousands of eggs and cooked them in every single possible way, and after years of trial and error, I found the one secret way of cooking eggs, which I'm about to share with you, which may sound weird to you at first. The way I do this is by first separating egg whites from egg yolks. I put the egg yolks aside and I cook the egg whites like I would usually cook a scrambled egg. I would place them in a well-buttered pan on medium-high heat with some herbs and salt and basically stir until it looks like scrambled egg whites. And at the end of this, I would wait for the pan to cool down. I put in the raw egg yolks. And the egg yolk is gonna stay liquid, it's gonna coat all the egg whites, and it's gonna look like this weird, very yellow omelette. I've been eating at least 4 eggs every single day for years now, and it's been an insane improvement for my productivity. So I really recommend that you eat eggs. Dietary cholesterol is not bad for you. In fact, it's really healthy to eat dietary cholesterol. Eggs are perfectly healthy. It's one of the healthiest foods out there that you could ever eat. So try this and you're gonna see an immediate improvement in your cognition. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.